Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling something that I think a lot of you can relate to. Like, why is it that sometimes you can read English, no problem, but then you hear someone talking and it's like a total different language?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to do a deep dive on understanding spoken English.
Awesome.
And to help us crack the code today, we have a language expert with us.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
So our mission today is to uncover those secrets of spoken English. And hopefully by the time we're done, you'll feel a lot more confident about understanding real-world conversations.
That's the goal, and it's definitely achievable even if it feels a little overwhelming right now.
Totally. And to start with, can you maybe talk about why listening to English can feel so much harder than reading it?
Well, one of the big things is that reading and listening are actually kind of different skills.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they use different parts of your brain, so it makes sense that you might be good at one but then find the other one tricky.
Okay, that makes sense. It's kind of like when you're learning to ride a bike. You might be able to balance, standing still, but then actually moving is a whole other challenge.
Exactly. Think about it. When you read, you can go at your own pace. You can look at the words, go back and read them again. You really have time to think about what they mean. But when someone is talking, the words just keep coming.
Yeah, and it can feel like they're talking so fast.
And they probably are. Plus, native speakers blend words together.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes it even harder to catch each individual word.
Is there an example of that?
Yeah, like, what are you going to do? Often ends up sounding like, what are you going to do?
Whoa, okay. Yeah, that's a mouthful.
It is. And then on top of that, you've got all the different ways English words can be pronounced, which I know can be a real trip up.
Whoa, tell me about it.
So accents and pronunciation, those definitely add another layer of complexity.
For sure. It's like, I think I know this word, and then someone with a totally different accent says it. And I'm like, wait, what?
Right. Someone from Australia might pronounce a word completely differently than someone from the US,
Right.
even though they're both speaking English. And even within one country, people from different areas can have different accents.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about learning the words themselves.
No.
It's about learning how many different ways they can sound.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. But the important thing to remember is it's okay to take it slow.
Right.
No one expects you to understand everything perfectly right away.
That's good to hear. So we talked about how listening is different from reading and how accents can make things tricky. Is there anything else that can make spoken English really hard to understand?
Well, one thing that can be tough is spoken English often uses a lot of slang and idioms.
Oh, right.
And these are words and phrases that have a different meaning than what the actual words seem to say.
Like what?
Like if someone says it's raining cats and dogs, they don't actually mean animals are falling from the sky. They mean it's raining really heavily.
Yes, those idioms. Those can be really confusing when you are just starting to learn English.
They can?
It's like, is everyone speaking in code?
It can feel that way, but as you learn more English and you experience more conversations, you'll start to pick up on these common idioms and slang phrases.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, just think of them as little puzzles to solve.
I like that. And something else I've noticed is that when you're listening, you don't have those same visual cues that you do when you're reading. Like you can't see the punctuation or spaces between the words.
You're absolutely right. When you're reading, you see how the words are grouped together, which helps you understand the meaning. But when someone is speaking, you just have to rely on their tone of voice and the pauses they take to figure out what they mean.
It's like trying to read a book with all the punctuation marks taken out. It'll be pretty tough to follow.
Exactly. It definitely takes time and practice to build up those skills to listen closely and understand spoken English without those visual cues.
So basically, listening to English is a whole lot more than just knowing the words.
It is.
You got to deal with speed, words all jumbled up, different accents, slang, and then on top of all of that, you don't even get any punctuation to help you out.
Right.
No wonder it can feel so challenging. But don't worry, because up next, our expert has a ton of great tips to share that can help you start understanding those tricky conversations.
Exactly. We'll dive into those in the next part of our deep dive.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
So, welcome back to our deep dive on understanding spoken English.
We're back and ready to decode more of those spoken English mysteries.
Perfect, because I think we left off talking about some of the challenges of understanding spoken English.
Yeah, like how people talk so fast and blend their words together and have all those different accents.
Right, exactly. But the good news is that there are definitely things you can do to make it easier to understand spoken English.
Oh, good. Because I'm ready to start understanding those conversations.
Okay, great. Well, one of the most important things is to practice what we call active listening.
Active listening. What's that?
It means that you're not just hearing the words, but you're really paying attention to the person speaking and trying to understand what they mean.
So it's not just letting the sounds go in one ear and out the other.
Exactly. It's about really engaging your brain and thinking about what the speaker is saying. A good way to practice active listening is to ask questions.
Oh, okay. So like if I don't understand something, I shouldn't be afraid to ask the person to repeat it or explain it a different way.
That's right. Most people are happy to help if you ask politely.
Okay.
You can say something like, "Excuse me, can you say that again?" Or, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you explain that, please?"
That feels a lot better than just pretending I understand and then missing out on what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And another helpful tip is to try to summarize what you've heard in your own words.
Okay.
This helps to make sure you really understood, and it shows the speaker that you're listening carefully.
So after someone finishes talking, I can say something like, "So what you're saying is,"
Yeah.
and then try to repeat back what I understood.
Exactly. That's a great way to check your understanding and stay focused on the conversation. And it gives the speaker a chance to clarify anything that you might have missed.
Okay, I'm going to try that. It seems like a really good way to make sure I'm on the same page as the person I'm talking to.
It definitely is. And here's another thing to think about. Sometimes what someone says isn't the whole story, you know? You also have to pay attention to how they're saying it.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. People can say a same words in lots of different ways.
Right.
They can speak quickly or slowly, loudly or softly.
Right.
They might sound happy, sad, angry, or confused.
So it's not just about the words themselves, but how they're being said.
Exactly. Paying attention to someone's tone of voice and even their body language can give you lots of clues about what they're really feeling and thinking.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess it's kind of like when you're reading a story, you know, you can kind of imagine the characters' voices and how they might be feeling based on what they're saying and doing.
That's a great comparison. It's like you're becoming a detective, looking for clues to help you understand the full meaning of what someone is trying to communicate.
I like that. Okay, so I'm going to try to be more aware of those clues when I'm listening to people speak English. But what about all those different accents we talked about earlier? How can I get better at understanding people who speak English with an accent that's different from what I'm used to?
That is a great question. The best way to get better at understanding different accents is to just expose yourself to them as much as you can.
So basically, the more I hear different accents, the easier it'll be for my brain to adjust and understand them.
Exactly. And there are so many fun ways to do this. You can watch movies and TV shows from different English-speaking countries, listen to music by artists from different parts of the world, or even find podcasts hosted by people with different accents.
Oh, those are all things I already enjoy doing. So it's not about forcing myself to listen to something boring. It's about finding things I'm interested in that just happen to have different accents.
Exactly. It's all about making the learning process enjoyable and engaging. You can even turn it into a game. Try to identify where the speaker is from based on their accent, or see if you can pick out any specific words or phrases that are unique to their dialect.
Ooh, that sounds fun. Okay, so that will help me pay attention to different sounds. But what about actually talking to people? I get so nervous about speaking English with native speakers.
I know that's completely normal. A lot of people feel nervous when they're speaking a language that they are still learning.
Okay.
But the more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
I know you're right. But sometimes it feels like I just don't have a lot of opportunities to practice speaking English with native speakers.
I understand, but if you don't have a lot of chances to speak English in your everyday life, you can try to create opportunities for yourself.
Okay.
There are lots of websites and apps where you can connect with native English speakers who are learning your language.
Like a language exchange.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation. You can chat online, have video calls, or even meet up in person if you're in the same city.
Oh, wow.
It's a really great way to practice your speaking skills in a relaxed and friendly environment.
I'm definitely going to look into that. It sounds like a fun way to make new friends and improve my English at the same time. Is there anything else you recommend?
Well, don't forget about all the other resources available to you, like English classes, tutoring programs, language learning apps.
Right.
There are so many options out there.
This is so helpful. I'm feeling a lot more confident about understanding spoken English now.
I'm so glad to hear that. And just remember, it's a process.
Right.
It takes time and effort to really develop your listening skills. But with patience and persistence, you can definitely achieve your goals.
Okay, I'm ready to keep practicing. So, what else can we learn about understanding spoken English?
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to like the video. Share it with friends who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to hear.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our conversation all about understanding spoken English, and I'm really excited to keep learning.
Me too. We've covered so much already.
I know. We've talked about active listening and different accents and even language exchange, but what else can we do to improve our listening skills?
Well, I think it would be really helpful to talk about how technology can actually be a huge help when it comes to learning English.
Oh yeah, technology for sure. I'm always on my phone and my computer, so I bet there are some cool apps and websites out there that could help with my English.
Absolutely. There are tons of great resources designed specifically for English language learners. They can help you with vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, all kinds of things.
So how do these apps and websites actually help you understand spoken English better?
Well, many of them have exercises and activities that focus specifically on listening skills.
Okay.
For example, they might have recordings of people having conversations and then ask you questions about what you heard.
Oh, so it's like a little quiz to see how well I understood what was being said.
Exactly. And some apps will even give you feedback on your own pronunciation using voice recognition technology.
Whoa, that's pretty cool. It's like having a personal English tutor in my pocket.
Right. And another great thing about technology is it just makes learning English so much more convenient.
True.
You can practice anytime, anywhere.
Yeah. I could even listen to something on my phone while I'm walking to class or riding the bus.
Exactly. Speaking of listening on the go, have you ever tried listening to podcasts?
I've heard of them, but I haven't really explored that world yet.
Okay, well, a podcast is kind of like a radio show, but you can download it and listen to it whenever you want. And the cool thing is, there are podcasts on pretty much any topic you can imagine, including lots of podcasts specifically designed for English language learners.
Oh, cool. So I could find a podcast about something that I'm actually interested in and learn English at the same time.
That's the idea. A lot of these podcasts have hosts who speak clearly and slowly and break down the language in a way that's easy to understand. Plus, a lot of podcasts provide transcripts so you can read along as you listen.
That's really helpful. I'm adding podcasts to my list. Is there anything else you recommend?
Well, a lot of people find that watching movies and TV shows in English is a really fun way to practice their listening skills.
Oh, for sure. I love watching movies.
Yeah, and it's a great way to just get exposed to natural, everyday English. Plus, you can always turn on subtitles if you need to.
And there's always YouTube. I can watch videos from all over the world.
Definitely. And one last thing I wanted to mention is music. Listening to English songs is a fantastic way to learn new words and get a feel for the rhythm and flow of the language.
I do love listening to music. I listen to a lot of English songs, actually, but I don't always understand all the words.
That's okay. You don't have to understand every single word to benefit from it.
Okay, good.
Just try to get the general meaning and enjoy the sound of the language. And you can always look up the lyrics later if you're curious.
That's a good idea. I'm going to start paying more attention to the lyrics when I listen to my favorite songs.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, learning English is a journey, not a race. It's okay to take your time, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the process.
I really like that. Well, this has been such an amazing deep dive. I feel like I have so many more tools and strategies for improving my listening skills now.
I'm so glad to hear that. Just remember to keep practicing and be patient with yourself.
I will. Thank you so much for sharing all your expertise with us today.
It was my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners, thanks for diving in with us. We hope this has been helpful and that you feel ready to keep exploring the awesome world of spoken English. We'll see you on our next deep dive.